Hey, hey,
All right.
hey!
Greetings, gentlemen.
Good morning and afternoon, wherever you are.
That's right. Hey,
Oh, that's
listen,
right. It's morning where you are.
Yes,
it's
right, that's
morning.
right.
Yeah,
Just
morning
a
where
little
you
bit,
are.
just a
Listen,
little bit.
it's been a long time since all three of us were together, I think. At
Well,
least for a couple of weeks.
yeah. Think about that.
Yeah.
Right.
So it is
It's good to
good.
see you, fellas. Good afternoon.
Right.
And again, good morning to you both. And those of you that are joining us, watching us in midday in the Eastern time zone, late morning in the just about everywhere else.
Yep, yep,
That's
yep.
right.
So listen, we are here because we are actually promoting our next episode. And we
That's
felt
right.
it was important for us to gather and just let you know, give you a little preview. We'll probably come back on later on this week, but we wanted to start today to let you know about this great, important discussion that we're about to have. Anselm, why don't you share with us, Pastor Paul, share with us what exactly we're going to be.
Wait a minute. What in the world? We were
You gotta
told to
make
say
it
that.
smaller so it can be seen.
Well, we're going to be talking about risk management in the church. Risk management covers so many things, and we've treated the topic before, but this time we're going to be looking at it from a few other angles. I think the last time we talked about it, we talked about safety in the building and the way that risk management governs, the safety of your facilities and things like that. This time, we're putting more of our emphasis on not just the safety of our buildings, but the safety of our people.
That's right.
And so the things that the church puts in place from a missional standpoint, as well as from a structural standpoint, to deal with issues that arise in the church. We've even talked about in the past misconduct. We're going to be zero in a little bit more on oftentimes in the building, we hear about predatory practices from church leaders, from members in the pew, and we want to learn how to protect ourselves, our children, our people, our guests, our community. And we want you to know that the church has things in place of how to deal with these things. Every now and then we enter into discussions where we say, well, how did this happen? Well, that's what we want to talk about. We want to talk about how some things happen, why they happen, and what should be and what needs to be the repercussions and the responses to those things that happen in our church.
Yeah.
So this is a show. This is a program that everybody should really watch, from conference leaders, of course, pastors, members. I mean, this risk management, can we call it a ministry? Can we call risk management a ministry, right? To help to protect the church. And they have resources and everything to protect us from a lot of things. So please, this is a show that you really, really, really want to come out and take some notes and follow up. This is one of those programs you want to follow up with, and to make sure that your church is doing whatever is possible so that we can have a safe place.
Over the years, we have heard so much what we can't do. And some of that is because of the risk. We're going to entitle the show The Risks of Risk Taking. We can't do away with risk, but we have to be able to manage it. And so today on Friday, we're going to actually be talking about how you manage your risks as a church, as a member, as a conference, as an entity within the church. You don't want to miss this conversation with the Chief Executive Officer of Adventist Risk Inc. Adventist Risk Inc. We're just so excited that Pastor James Weinberger, he's an ordained minister. He is an expert in risk management, and he leads our church's risk management entity. And you'll hear more about the connection between the church and the Risk Management Inc. on Friday. You don't want to miss this conversation.
Right.
Good stuff. All
Yeah.
right.
But Elder, before we leave, you flashed up a sign there. One of our in our production meetings, they were sharing that sex sells. Sex sells.
Mercy.
But we want you to know that it's not the only risk. A lot of us feel that's the only risk, that's the only major risk, but there are other risks involved in our church. One of them being the 15-passenger van risk. And I know personally of a Pathfinder organization, Pathfinder group that
Yeah.
had someone that lost lives that because they were in a 15-passenger van and it had an accident and it caused it destroyed some lives. And so our risk management has to deal with how we reduce those kinds of accidents from happening. And there's so many other things when it comes to that. Where I am in the South here, we deal with tornadoes and storms, and that's part of the risk. And there are things we can do to alleviate, at least to minimize some of the devastation that happens with that. So we're gonna be talking about the risks of risk taking.
The risk of risk taking, right? And ministry, Pastor Wade, is a risk. We're risk takers when we do ministry.
Yes.
Dealing with so many people, so many things, and therefore I think that this topic is going to be really, really, really important. Please come on out. You may want to just start telling your friends right now. Listen, hey, Friday, we got to come on out. We got to be involved. We want to be engaged. We expect that there'll be some questions that you'll be asking in the chat, and we're going to have, as Pastor Wade mentioned, or Pastor Paul, what have you mentioned? We're going to be having the leader of this ministry, of this organization with us. And so what a way to get your questions asked. You're going right to the leader. Okay.
This topic can be much more controversial than sometimes people may think it is on the surface. We think about things like sexual misconduct. And for some people, it's like, automatic, then this is what you do, this is how you respond, or this is the protections that you put in place so that things don't happen. And yet for others, it becomes a little bit more controversial when we talk about things like how we deal in the church with sex offenders. Like people, we open our doors to the public, and we say that God is a God who wants to save everybody, from the uttermost to the guttermost. And then you've got people in church saying, wait a minute, I don't know if I want the guttermost sitting inside this building next to my kid in my, Sabbath school class, or teaching my, leading out in Pathfinders or things like that. And so there can be some friction, I guess, as one might say, between our mission, and that is to save the uttermost to the guttermost, and our structure, some of the things that we can allow. And so I'm very interested to see how some of these, not contradictions, but how some of these controversial issues may run out. Also, in the same line, we talk about when these things happen with employees, what's the role of forgiveness or employment, or and we've heard things happen with church leaders, and then instead of firing them or we just move them to another church or to another conference, and rather than actually dealing with the issue. So a lot of these things can be a lot more controversial. There are some churches who are saying, I can't afford anything more than that 15-passenger van, and we've had this for all of these years, and now these folk are trying to tell us that we can't. What do you mean I have to have all of my church members get a background check? That's an invasion of their privacy. So again, we've got a lot of things that can be, to some extent, more controversial below the surface than they may seem at first glance. And so hopefully we'll get a chance to scratch that surface and get a little bit below and answer some questions and make some things perhaps a little bit more clear on this coming Friday night.
And listen, one more thing I want to say, we know that this is going to be a riveting conversation, I want to encourage our listeners to go ahead and take a look at the Adventist Risk Management website,
Good.
because then you'll be able to have some more questions. A part of the Adventist Risk Management, one of their initiatives is the Cyber Risk Initiative. Okay, cyber risk. So a lot is coming. Cyber risk awareness, actually, cyber risk awareness is one of their initiatives. So, and this is not just within our churches, institutions, are dealing with this thing. And so please come with your questions. We have the person ready to answer those questions. That's going to be here on Friday night. You do not want to miss it. What time Friday night, Pastor Wade?
Wow, it is at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 Central, 7 Mountain, and 6 Pacific. I am sharing every single time zone. You are welcome to be a part of that. And if you are watching right now, maybe you might not be able to share on the screen, but just share with us if you are interested in sharing this information out. We will be posting the graphic later on this week, and we want you to invite and connect with as many of your friends, members from your church, even your pastor, your conference leadership. Let them know what we're going to be talking about, and they need to be a part of this conversation.
Yeah. I'm even preparing now, guys. I know we've got some questions we've handed out, but I'm thinking now I may push the envelope and ask some of these hard questions, questions that get people, I know, mad at me and stuff all the time. But we've got to ask them, because you guys are asking them. We want to ask some of the questions that you guys are asking, deal with some of the issues that you guys are dealing with. So, what do we do with victims? How am I getting so taller in the middle? Why am I?
I have no clue. There we go.
Okay, get him back down.
Like,
Get him back
what's
down.
going on?
Get him back down.
He was puffing up.
Yeah, you got it. Oh
Right.
man, yeah, it's gonna be a good conversation. Good conversation this week. Looking forward to it.
All right, Friday night,
Stuff.
9 p.m. Eastern, right here on all of the Pastors Facebook, Pastors Roundtable Facebook and YouTube page. We'll also be streaming on the South Central Conference Facebook and YouTube page. We'll also be streaming on, where else will we be?
We're streaming.
We're
That's
streaming.
what-
We're streaming.
Looking
Awesome,
forward to the
awesome.
show. Okay. All right. Make sure you
Awesome.
tell your friends.
All righty. Well, listen, guys, I know we said we would jump on for a little bit,
Right.
and so we don't want to wear out our welcome. And if you are interested in making sure that you're there on Friday night, please be there. Share with your friends, share with those who you believe need to have that information, your ministry leaders, especially those who work with children, Sabbath school, Pathfinders, whoever you feel needs to get this information. And you yourself, you want to be informed. You want to be an informed member. That's what gives us the ability to share the gospel correctly when we are informed members. So come on back Friday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. We look forward to seeing you there as we come together to have this very important discussion about risks, the risks of taking risk or risk-taking. We look forward to seeing you there. Anything else, guys, before we leave?
Now,
Just want to say,
I was
go ahead.
saying I was looking for that outro, man, on the Pastors Roundtable where we keep ministry. I was looking for that. I was looking for that voice.
I just want to make sure I did not
I
skip
got you.
anything that y'all may want to say just before we left. So I didn't kick into that yet, but
I wanted to say hello to Stephanie Scott, because I'm looking in the group now, because on here we only see Facebook users. So I went into the group to see actually who was making these comments. So Stephanie Scott is there. That's part of the team. We see Ann Petty King has joined us. Thank you, Ann. She said looking forward to the show, wanting to share, or want to share, and then. Edward Woods III. Woody is in the chat as well, and a happy birthday to Woody. Woody is our our good friend of the show.
Yes,
Now, there may
yes.
be others that are joining us as well, but we are not seeing who you are. Haven't seen those comments up yet, but we thank you for joining us as well.
Definitely, definitely. Listen, again, we look forward to connecting with you on Friday night at 9 p.m. Here at the Pastors Roundtable, where we strive to 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 make ministry relevant.
Resourced.
And real. God bless.
See you then.